Hey.
Yeah.
You heard about TrueNorth.bet?
Yeah. This is a dumb question. You told me.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well. Did you hear that it was built from the ground up to be the credible, dependable, safe gaming experience that Canadians like you, Steve, and like you, Jesse, are looking for?
Yeah, you told me.
TrueNorth.bet focuses exclusively on Canada.
Well, I'm from there. I like that.
And Canadian players.
Well, I play hockey now. I'm pretty good.
TrueNorth.bet also takes pride in having the best customer service on the market. They are professional, they are efficient, and they are built for you. And you and you and me. TrueNorth.bet has an incredible offer. All of us.
Yeah.
TrueNorth.bet has an incredible offer for you. They want to match your first deposit up to $500 in bonus funds.
Oh.
How great is that? All you have to do is visit sdpn.truenorth.bet and register this incredible offer. Again, $500 in bonus funds with your first deposit. sdpn.truenorth.bet.
Say it 5 times fast.
sdpn.truenorth.bet. sdpn.truenorth.bet. This is a terrible
Keep
bit.
going.
No.
Yep, keep going.
sdpn.truenorth.bet. I'm doing it 3.
All right. 3 is impressive. Well done.
I would have taken the under. My first reaction is always, is it fake?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes.
you have to be cynical about these things, right? Is it fake?
Some people still think it is.
I understand why people thought it was first.
But I think what you do before you say anything is you go, I'm going to investigate this, right?
No.
Because there are still some people, like I can see them on my Facebook
Straight
page.
to reaction.
And they're like,
Photoshop is not open
This
right
is-
away.
Yeah, this is
and you're
it.
not making memes. Retire from the internet. You suck.
So I then I watched the clips. Like the Shade Room has everything, right? If you want gossip and drama, the Shade Room has it. So it had, firstly, I think it had a slide of Will Smith's apology, and he's like crying in it, and I'm like, okay, this seems pretty real. And why would he do this over the course of his Oscar speech?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Oscars.
Also, not his apology to Chris Rock.
No,
'cause
just
that
to the
never
Academy.
happened. To the Academy.
Yeah.
For causing an incident.
And then I watched the Chris Rock joke, and then I watched, and by the way, it wasn't a good joke. It was punching down and shitty.
It was too far.
It's too far, and also not even, well, like sometimes you're like, God, I shouldn't like that joke, but it was, well, that's not a good joke. Objectively, on no level is that a good joke, and you don't need to be taking shots at people's appearances. You just don't.
People's health problems.
Yeah, it's
Like,
alopecia. She has alopecia.
Yeah, it's not even her appearance. It's something beyond her control.
It's wild.
See, my question is, did he know? Like,
I mean, listen,
maybe
I don't
he thought
know.
she just shaved her head.
I didn't know she had alopecia. I just thought
I
she
didn't
looked
know
good
either.
with short hair. But I don't know. What do I know about that? But maybe, Chris Rock and Will Smith have worked together.
This is the thing. Like, I was like, it's kind of personal because he should know.
Mhm.
Right.
Right?
Well,
Yeah,
maybe.
It's confusing.
Also, you were, Adam, under the impression that it was off the cuff. I think that's written.
You think that joke was written?
Yeah.
See, I
think
thought that joke was so bad
Yeah.
that there's no way he could write that. Really?
I think because he wouldn't have written it. I think it's one of the 8 writers who write for the show because those shows, like Behind the Curtain, those things are written. Those comedians aren't writing their own jokes, and I think that's a written joke by one of those writers who thought, "Hey, I'm going to take this pot shot," and I think that crossed the line. It was too far.
I agree. So here was my contention to Jesse about that. If you've ever seen Chris Rock on like Saturday Night Live, he's not very good.
Mhm.
Chris Rock is an incredible writer of jokes and deliverer of jokes. But I don't think what Saturday Night Live is improv, right? It's off the cuff. And it's a whole,
for the audience, can you explain what SNL is?
But I'm just trying to define the different types of comedy, right?
Yes.
So you're trying to, it's a completely different skill. And I haven't ever seen him be that good at it. And I love Chris Rock. I had all his CDs growing up. All of them.
Yeah.
I mean, he was spectacular and is a very funny person. But I thought that joke, I'm like, he couldn't have. It's so bad. It's such a like, even if Will Smith and Jada had just stiff upper lipped it and not said anything, that joke was just kind of like, even if you had said something before that, it would have made it less funny. You know?
It just wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
And it was also wrong. You don't need to be taking pot shots at someone's appearance.
Right.
So you asked me how I felt when I woke up. I went, oh, I guess this is going to be our entire show. And then I stopped and went, oh, this is going to be our entire show.
Right.
Because here's what plays into it. Instantly, race.
Yep.
Almost as instantly, people are going to start talking about mental health.
Yep.
Beyond that, you could find any range of takes and opinions on this.
Toxic masculinity was a big
100%.
Yeah, violence.
Violence.
What's acceptable, what isn't. The
Comedy.
treatment. Do comedians have the right to say anything they want? Is it just a joke?
According to Judd Apatow, manslaughter.
Yeah, Judd Apatow's tweet about he could have killed him. I mean, like, Chris Rock didn't even fall over. And let me tell you something. We don't need to go into the debate of how hard was the slap. But I'll be honest with you, I've stood next to Will Smith before. The man is huge.
He played Muhammad Ali. He can throw a punch.
Well, but that's... So I'm watching it, I'm like, that slap sucked so bad, and I know Will Smith knows how to throw a punch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, yeah, he trained for a year to play Muhammad Ali so he could throw a punch.
Yeah.
But he just stands square to him and like barely turns his body, and like I don't know.
And to be fair to Chris Rock, and let me say this, and this shouldn't have to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Adam,
in no way
say everything.
In no way will we ever condone violence of this sort. Like, I understand violence in the UFC. I understand violence in hockey. But everybody who saw this and was like, I don't condone violence in any instance ever. It's unacceptable. I'm like, okay, so you watch hockey? Okay, so you do condone some violence.
Yeah.
Just let's be clear about what violence you condone. And let me be straight. I don't think that was the right thing to do. I don't think anybody sitting here thinks that was the right thing to do.
No, you can't go around slapping people in the face.
Because they say something you don't like.
Because they say something you don't like. You can't hit people. That's just not a thing you can do in any instance ever.
You know what you could do? You could get up for your Oscar speech and say, just before I accept this, let me just say, Chris Rock, what you said about my wife was completely unacceptable. I'm not kidding. And that kind of shit needs to go in the trash. Like, you need, and that would have been
Sean Penn do that?
I don't
Something
know.
like that?
I don't know what
Along
Sean
those
Penn
No,
is.
I understand what you're saying.
You just don't, right? Now, the thing here, and this is, I think context is key. Because I was thinking about this on the way to work this morning at 5 a.m. It's really fucking hard to think of. You got to think about this because you know it's the first break you're going to have at 6. You know it's the first thing out of your mouth. And you know it's a really complex issue. So what do you want to say about this that is going to be different, that isn't going to be fucking stupid, and that is not going to... Because the reality is there's no way to put a tight bow on this. Chris Rock told a shitty joke. Will Smith did a shitty thing. They're not equal. Will Smith did the shittier thing.
Probably.
But what I saw were other people in my industry going, Will Smith should be arrested.
Which Chris Rock disagrees with.
Yeah, because Chris Rock chose not to.
I tried to articulate in a tweet that what Chris Rock did is a slappable comment.
Yes.
You know? I was like, he deserves to get slapped in the face for telling such a shitty joke.
Yes.
Like, you should tell a shitty joke.
And you're doing a little tongue-in-cheek there.
Yeah, but like, that's not the nuance that's allowed.
Also, like, I wouldn't want my boyfriend or my husband to, well, he didn't say it about you, did he?
No.
Right.
Like, you weren't there. Like, let's be a little bit more careful about what you would do in that situation. You extraordinarily weren't. You know, if I was in the Oscars and the host made fun of me, you're talking about like the least relatable experience.
There's like 2 people in the world who can relate to
and
that.
It's not even that. What we're about to get into, it's if I was Will Smith and for years my wife has been publicly saying things about me. We've been in an unhappy marriage for 10 years. And then somebody said something and I've been the happiest man in America. Then I don't know if you're gonna finally snap.
Let's get
into that.
You just reminded me of the 50 Cent thing. Why does she keep saying this shit?
Yo, what, 50 Cent today? I don't know if you saw his post today.
No.
But he posted about it, and he's like, if you win Oscars, you have the right to slap people. And when I win one, I'm going to slap the shit out of a lot of people.
Jesus.
And typical 50 Cent humor, okay?
Dude,
I laugh at some of his shit sometimes because it is funny. Now,
there's not enough time left in my life to consume all the media
that is surrounded
just
this.
with this incident.
So here's what I was thinking. On the way to work, I'm thinking, let's go through Will Smith's career, right? The average person in Hollywood has some sort of something happen at some point, especially when you've been around as long as Will has. And we're not talking 25 years anymore. I don't even think we're talking 30 years. I think we're talking 35 years. I think he and DJ Jazzy Jeff, I think that Summertime song came out in 1990, or maybe 1989. Like
our entire lives.
He has been around since literally I was shitting myself and my parents were cleaning it up. That's how long this guy has been famous.
You could have used anything.
No, you're never gonna forget that.
Man, it's the second straight episode.
So So I'm thinking like, okay, so what has Will Smith done wrong in his career prior to this?
There was, so he has slapped someone before.
Has he?
Yes, but it
on a
was
red carpet.
Yeah, it was on a red carpet.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
And it was, but it was like
it was a comedian who he breaks into red carpets and he does like wacky stuff.
Didn't he like kiss him or something?
Yeah,
like that?
and he tried to kiss him on the.
Okay.
Well,
he invaded his personal space.
Yeah,
he tried to sexually assault him.
Yeah, it's literally.
Honest.
You want to put it in those terms? Yeah.
So it was a tap, but he was basically like, "Why would you do that? Fuck off!"
Right. It was a fuck away, fuck off tap.
Fuck off.
Yeah. So he slapped that guy.
That's about. I mean, that's not a mark on his career.
No,
that's the only comparable I can think of.
So I can tell you that in my life, what Will Smith meant to me, Fresh Prince was every day after school. Every fucking day.
He's a hero to our age.
Hero.
Yep.
Yeah. And then let me tell you about this. One day, I got Independence Day for Christmas one year, and I wore that VHS out. Like I wore it out because it you know, they used to have those tracking lines in them and that sort of thing. Mine was like a mess during certain seasons.
God rolled.
I know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I admit my pro Will Smith bias a little bit here. And again, not condoning anything that he did. But here's a person.
You need to make sure you repeat that every 30
because
seconds.
if I don't, somebody's going to clip it.
We don't condone violence.
Yeah, I like violence. It's great. Super good.
Clip that.
No, I think here's a black man in America who made himself the biggest star in America multiple times in multiple different contexts. That show that he did was groundbreaking. People think of the Fresh Prince as, oh, it's just fun and hilarious and, oh, you know, fish out of water, poor kid from Philadelphia, ends up rich family in Los Angeles. That's cool. Guys, the things, do you remember the first episode where you're talking about Malcolm X and Uncle Phil walks in and he's like, I heard the brother speak.
Yeah.
Like, powerful shit. When his dad walks out on him and goes, how come he don't want me, man?
Yeah.
Think about powerful shit. That last episode where all the furniture's cleared out of the mansion and he's just standing there alone.
Yep.
There's stuff that they tackle in that show that we did not really begin to absorb and try to tackle until about 5 years ago, societally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was about the black experience. And as much as you were a little kid at the time, you know, I didn't absorb all that. I didn't get all that, but it did make you aware of it, right? And I think Will Smith has been friendly to everybody. That guy, I could tell you, on the media side of things, he brings it for every interview.
You've interviewed Will Smith.
Yes.
That's crazy.
He has raised a family, 3 kids. And listen, you can take pot shots at Willow and Jaden, but they're doing great. They're doing great. Like, Willow's had 3 of the biggest hits on TikTok, which matters, by the way, in the last year.
Caught a vibe.
Absolutely. You know, they... For all intents and purposes, this is a person that has never really done anything but try to please the public. It is extremely difficult. Don't tell me that it's the same for a white guy in his position as it is for Will. And for 35 or 32 or whatever years, he's had to be palatable to the white audience, Will Smith. That's a fucking challenge in a society that loves a car crash story. We loved it when Britney Spears shaved her head. We loved it when Lindsay Lohan, tore her career apart and fell victim to drugs and alcohol and abusive men and all these other things. Loved it. Tabloids ate that shit up. Will Smith has not done any of that, has skated all of that as a black man in America. Think about that. Now, that has to be a lot of pressure. That has to be the kind of shit where you suck up a lot of shit throughout the years. People make passing comments. Jesse, you know what it's like to be black. Mm-hmm. There's shit that you deal with that Steve and I do not deal with, right?
Yeah. No, and he said it in the speech himself. Like, he tried to clarify what was happening when he finally snapped. And he said, after he gave that beautiful quote from Denzel, and then he said that like, he's been taking a lot of shit. Like, he said it in those words, and that it all came to a head in that moment, and he tried to explain what happened there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a long journey for him.
So then we have a year and a half ago, in the midst of the first wave of the pandemic, it comes out because some R&B singer wants to make a show of himself and wants his album to sell. He talks about on a podcast how he and Jada Pinkett Smith had an affair, I don't know, 3-4 years ago.
An entanglement.
An entanglement.
That's what she called it.
That's what she called it. So they have this, and usually with Hollywood affairs, what you do is the best PR move is to leave it. You see these things come up. You see them come up on Dumois. You see them come up on TMZ. And it's so-and-so was out with this. Like Kevin Hart, while his wife was very pregnant, was caught making out with a woman in the back of a car by the paparazzi.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he open his next special with that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Now, kudos to him. He hit it head on, right?
I mean, I mean, Chris Rock cannot get on stage next time and be like, man, airplane food's nuts.
No. By the way, when I went to the
slapped by Will Smith.
When I went to the Chris Rock show, he also said, man, I cheated on my wife, and he did a whole thing about it the last time Chris Rock was in town.
Didn't we go together?
I think we did.
He's coming back in June. We should get tickets.
We should. I think that'll be a hell of a ticket.
I sent them to Steve last night.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, these are going to sell out quick.
I thought Jesse sent me Jay's tickets.
No.
So here's the reason I want to talk about this Red Table Talk quickly is that I don't know if you saw it. Did you see Red Table? You didn't know what Red Table Talk was.
Not the whole thing. I saw like
you saw clips.
The most infamous.
So Jada has this show with her mother and her daughter, and it's called Red Table Talk, and it's basically where you lay it all on the line, right? You're talking about everything. So when this happens, she goes, me and Will are going to do Red Table Talk. We're going to talk about it. And I don't know if you saw it, but it's to me anyway, the most painful watch I've ever seen. And Jesse and I had to cover it at Virgin.
Yeah. So it's the meme where Will Smith has the tears in his eyes.
Yes.
Like that's where that meme comes from. Red Table Talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we don't know. They've never said that they have an open marriage, but that's always sort of been out there. But clearly a line was crossed here because he was in tears and he was upset.
Mm-hmm.
And what struck me was, maybe they thought that was the right way to handle it. It didn't seem to me like he wanted to be there, but that's me guessing.
It seemed like he was upset about the cheating and how they have an open marriage, but he also seemed upset that she forced him in that instant to talk about it. It didn't seem like he wanted to be there.
I don't think he wanted to be there.
He seemed upset that he's just in this situation, not even the fact that she had a thing on the side.
And do we know that that's the case? We don't know that for sure. But what I can tell you is that the fallout since has been brutal.
He's been clowned on for a year and a half.
Right. Like I saw tweets this morning saying like, oh man, talking about how, Will Smith's going to get to sleep in the bed tonight. Mm-hmm. Like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like where, basically the cuckold thing, right?
And this dates back to even like the 90s because Jada dated Tupac. And she always brings that up in interviews. Like throughout their entire marriage, she has love letters from Tupac and she'll bring them up and she'll talk about that. And she celebrates the anniversary of his death, obviously. And people, every time she brings it up, it's a thing about Will. It's like, oh, your wife, if she could have had him, if she could have had Tupac Shakur, she would have never been with Will. Like she settled for Will Smith. So since the 90s, he's been losing this marriage because of a ghost that he can't beat. and then now
it was 25 years ago.
25 years later, she brings this up and she's like, oh, and for a long time in this marriage, I've had a thing on the side.
And he's been Captain Positivity through it all. And then finally,
like, bro, that's Will Smith.
Yeah.
That's literally one of the most famous people on the planet.
Famous people ever.
And you're talking about his dirty laundry.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
And frankly, if you got an open relationship, okay. It's your kink. I don't even know if you'd even call it a kink. That's your thing. That's what works for you, whatever.
Your business.
Mm-hmm. Not my business. But people have been clowning this guy forever. And to me, that slap was not for Chris Rock. That slap was for every shitty comment in the last 18 months and before that Will Smith has ever got. I think the man snapped. Mm-hmm. And I think, listen, again, I'm not condoning this, but I think if we're being completely honest, every human being has a breaking point to the point where you absolutely just lose it. And I think it's a mistake in any case to judge people by their worst moment.